Morning, Christine Regan Lake here. Hope all is well. So today, just briefly, I'll tell you what we're going to go over, and then I'll get right into the meat of the talk. So what I'm going to cover today is essentially how love, sex, and money are intimately connected, and how a belief in one area can negatively impact another area. We are one integrated being, and when one belief or category of our life is off, it can have a domino effect in other areas of our life. Okay, so if you have not currently subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel if you like the videos that I'm putting out, and remember to hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I upload new videos, because I'm constantly updating the channel. Okay, so love, sex, and money, which, if you've seen my welcome video, is essentially the three core topics that I really want to dig into as I build my channel. So why love, sex, and money, and why are they related, and how are they intimately linked? Well, I think the easiest way to show you how this works is to actually give you an example from my life, which is, I guess, the whole point of me creating this channel is because you go out and share what you have lived through and what you want to help others avoid. So So it's really interesting, when you start to understand the power of your unconscious beliefs, and how they literally magnetize everything into your life or repel things from your life. So, in terms of the areas of love, sex, and money, so when I was about 5 years old, I had a situation in my family where my dad came home from work and he had a gift for me. He had bought me these beautiful red pair of shoes for me, and it was kind of just spontaneous. I don't even think it was my birthday. I honestly don't think it was my birthday. Um, so anyway, he came home with this beautiful gift, and it was so rare for my father to shop for something because my mom was always the one who did things like that. So anyway, um, she so my father hands me these red shoes, and I'm just blown away because in my little 5-year-old mind, those shoes literally represented my father's love for me. So he's handing me these red shoes, and next thing you know, my mom and dad are in a fight, and my mother is mad at my father for going out and shopping and spending the money on these shoes for me. And so, they're fighting over the money that he spent. And, I think it was, I may have talked in some of my other videos about my mom, like my entire family jokes about the fact that my mom, like had serious issues with money, things like that. And anyway, so they're fighting about, the fact that my father went out and spent this money for me and went shopping and got these shoes for me. And literally for me as a 5-year-old person, 5-year-old self, my interpretation was that those shoes represented, his love, and them fighting over the fact that, he shouldn't have spent that money. What I interpreted, the meaning my little 5-year-old self took from that experience was, I'm not worthy of love or money. So, right? And so, this gets burned into my subconscious mind. I don't know if you know, but basically, by the time we're 7 years old, most of our core beliefs are locked into our subconscious mind, and we've created them as children. To guide our life. And by the time we're about 7 is when most of them are locked in. Our definitions of what love is, money is, life is, life is a struggle, money is the root of all evil, love is painful and dysfunctional, and if it's not painful, it's not love, things like that. Like, we create all of these sometimes terrible, terrible beliefs based on experiences that we have in our childhood. And here's the thing, that experience, like, it's not like it was this, I wasn't like beaten by my mother or anything, like, we create beliefs from experiences that may seem kind of small and harmless, but based on what we interpret them to be, you know, they can create havoc in our life moving forward. So, I'm sure my parents had no idea when they were having that fight over these shoes, the effect it was going to have on me as a child, right? So anyway, so I embody the belief at the subconscious level, I'm not worthy of love or money. So then what transpires moving forward in my life? Well, of course, I attract a series of love relationships in which confirm my belief that, I'm not worthy of love. My primary love language is physical touch. And so I ended up in a number of relationships that were, kind of sexless relationships, which had, far reaching effects. I've talked about them in other videos. They definitely impact, sexless relationships impact your self worth, your self esteem, things like that. And so when you have relationships or situations that are like kind of destroying and whittling away your self-esteem, well, then what happens that how does that, roll out and affect other areas? Well, it's obviously going to affect your finances. And so I wasn't, attracting the level of abundance that I had desired at that point, because first of all, I was holding the belief that I was not worthy of love or money. And then as a result of those beliefs, I ended up, it kind of like attracting and magnetizing to me this life that confirmed for me those beliefs, lovers that were, that were not healthy relationships, sexual relationships that proved I wasn't, or proved to my ego, right? Of course, I'm worthy of love and, money and abundance, and so is everybody else. But because of those experiences, I attracted those kinds of relationships into my life, the dysfunction of, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy sexual experiences, things like that. And it absolutely affected my money. So there is an absolute intimate link between these different areas of our life. And, when one's off, it tends to be, it closes off the other. And the other element is that abundance is a very high vibration. And so, the act of like closing off your heart and closing off your heart and closing off your energy field to receiving love, receiving abundance, whatever, keeps you in a low vibrational state. And so, it takes the opening up of your energy, it takes the opening up of knowing that you're worthy of receiving to be able to receive an abundance of love, an abundance of health, an abundance of friendship, an abundance of, sex, an abundance of money, things like that. So there is an intimate link between, love, money, and sex. And, we may not realize it, but it might be interesting for you. Here's an exercise that you can try is go back to write down a list of all the people that you've had relationships with and write down the pros and cons of it and start looking for patterns that you see in all of the relationships and see, identify the good ones. That's always important, but you absolutely want to look at all the cons, like what are the patterns that have showed up in all the different various relationships that you've had, and start to identify what your pattern is. Now do the exact same thing in your career. Go to every job and write the pros and cons, what drew you to the job and what made you leave the job, and then also write down like the financial history that you have, and try to think about like what was going on in your life when that happened, whatever. Has your income been very consistent and steady? Has it been very erratic, back and forth? But look at the pros and the cons and look at the pattern in your professional career and in your financial history in terms of income generation, and start looking at the patterns and seeing if you see where there's a connection, where you're seeing that, like, okay, am I ready to release this? Am I ready to kind of put all those negative patterns behind me in the past and open up to an abundance of everything in my life, and release the vibration and the beliefs of life is like a hard struggle, slog, things like that, and start having certainty that you can have an abundance of love, you can have a raging hot sex life, you can have beautiful income streams, multiple streams, whatever. You can have the freedom that you want, but it's all about you. It's until you figure out what the garbage is in your past that could potentially be blocking you today, then you're not going to be able to ascend to that next level life that you're looking for. And a lot of these beliefs are locked into the body energetically. They're anchored into your nervous system. They're anchored into the body, and so it's about getting those out. If you have any interest in having a session, I work with clients both in person and over the phone to release those negative anchors in the body that are holding those beliefs in place and that are keeping you stuck. And I'll have a link to that in the description box. I'll include my email address in there. You can reach out to me, and we can schedule a session if you have any interest. Also, I want to note to you, in my description box, I have a link to my fundraising page for Operation Underground Railroad. I am an abolitionist, and it is my mission to raise $1 million to free children from the human trafficking industry, which is a $150 billion industry. It's the fastest growing criminal enterprise on the planet. Children who are taken into human trafficking typically have a 7-year lifespan. It's very detrimental. 800,000 children go missing every year in the United States, and one child goes missing every 30 seconds in Europe. Human trafficking is the most pressing issue on the planet, and it's my mission to support and help rescue these children. And if you have any inclination to donate to the foundation, the link is in the box, and I'll include that there for you. All the monies go directly to them. Nothing's for me. And so there you go. I hope you found value in this. Have a beautiful day, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Thanks. Bye.